Okay, we are live. Welcome everybody to another episode of our Flow Traders series. My name is Charlie Bathgate. I'm the CEO of Sanglucci and Wall Street Jesus, and I'm joined today by a longtime Steam Room member, Sahil. Sahil,
Hey,
say what's up, everybody.
hey guys, how y'all doing?
Yeah, thanks for joining us today, man. Yeah, we asked Seal to come on and talk to us as part of our series of talking to different traders from different walks of life, different ways of trading flow, using flow in their trading. So that's what this series is going to be, or this conversation is going to be about. As well as the rest of the series. If you haven't watched the rest of the interviews in the series, highly encourage you do so over on our YouTube channel. This whole series is in lead up to the launch of the Complete Flow Trader, which is the course, the flow trading course taught by Wall Street Jesus. The course starts on July 1st, and you can save 20% up until then using coupon code NOFLOW. That's KNOW Flow 2024. So NOFLOW 2024 at checkout. Go over to wallstreetjesus.com and you can learn more about that. We'll have more about the course later, but Sahil, let's start with you, man. Let's start about just
Yeah.
your kind of like the general stuff first, like how'd you get started trading, how long you've been doing it. Let's kind of build the bigger picture and then we'll get more
Sure.
specific.
Um, I really started trading recently, maybe 2018, right?
Okay.
Let's go back even further. Like back in 2000, 1999, my my uncle passed away and he had a good amount of money, right? So he passed passed money to like all his nieces and nephews, brothers and sisters. He had a ton of brothers and sisters, maybe like 10 brothers and sisters, and all of them had kids. So,
Wow.
he gave. So I think I came up with like a 100 grand or so, and then my dad, he basically asked. I was going to college in New York, and he's like, you want to invest some money? I said, oh, I really didn't know any much about it, but he knew somebody that worked at, I think, Charles Schwab, and he asked me, my brother, my sister said, yeah, put it in mutual funds. I want to be more conservative. I was like, no, let's be aggressive. Let's go ahead. I'm going to school. I'm still young, right?
Right.
Um, so like a few years later, I came back and said, hey, what's going on? He's like, well, it's gone. So I was like, okay, I don't think I'm ever giving any money to anybody else to, put in the market.
Wow.
So once that happened, I was like, I'm not going to trust anybody. I'll do it myself. Let me do the research and do the work.
Yeah.
Um, so then after a few, then I guess through the middle years, I was just playing a lot of cards, doing some other stuff and, sports betting, but not really the market.
Hmm.
Um,
And
and
this
then
is when
like,
you're in your 20s, sort of?
yeah, and in
Yeah.
my twenties, yeah,
Okay.
yeah, I'm
Gotcha.
in my early 40s now. So yeah,
Yeah. Yeah.
yeah. So then, and then like in 2018 or something, uh, I was still single at the time. I started I don't know, I started to play like PlayStation again. I don't know. I used to play video games when I was a little kid, but I didn't play for my 20s and stuff like that. And I said, wow, these graphics are cool. And I was like, shit, let me, I got some money now. I was working, doing, selling some diamonds, and I got a job in the energy industry. I said, well, I bought some AMD and Nvidia stock in 2018.
Hmm.
I didn't know much about the market. I just like, okay, I like this. I think, it could go up eventually, maybe in a year or so. I think, but then like all of a sudden it started to go up. I was like, wow, I didn't expect that. So
So you were buying Nvidia in 2018 or 2019?
yeah, 2018. Yeah.
Damn.
Yeah. I think it was like, I have to bought some AMD too. Um, my dad's like, why are you buying AMD? That stock was doing nothing for years. I was
Yeah.
like, well, they're doing graphics now. They're, like these video games.
Right.
I actually bought it like at uh, $11, and then I sold it at $9. It's like shit, and then I bought it back at 30.
Right. Right.
Then yeah. So I bought Nvidia as well in 2018. So yeah, I had a good run for a couple of years, 2018, 2019, and then like at the end of 2019, I was like, I was working with some guys. They were like, man, you're not gonna make that much money again. Like, I guess average is 10, 15% a year, right? I made like, I don't know, 50, 60, 70%. So I was like, let me sell some. some some uh, some of my positions now and just hold some cash.
Yeah.
And then COVID happened, so I got a little lucky and I was able to get back in and bought.
Yeah.
But yeah, and then like 2022 was a rough year for me. I think that's when I maybe 21. I think that's when I joined you guys. I kind of
Okay.
was doing some research online about gamma and options and stuff because I really was just playing only equity.
Yeah.
And I came across like Sangucci. I started watching some of these videos, and I'm like, okay, these guys make sense, right? They're not like just blowing smoke.
Right.
Um, right. So that's
They're
kind
not
of
they're
where
not
I
totally
started.
full of shit, so maybe we'll give them a try. Yeah.
I think I'm a good, judge of character, right? So it's like, let me, yeah, these guys are not flashy. They're not throwing up, Lambo avatars and stuff. And it's
Right.
just like, guys that, wanted to, like, they're action junkies and they actually, probably lost some money previously and they understand the market. And I was like, wow, these guys are pretty legit. So
Yeah.
that's when I started.
Awesome.
And I didn't know anything then. I didn't know
Got you.
anything at all. Just that I got lucky buying some NVIDIA and AMD. I mean,
Right.
yeah.
Right. So then, okay, so then around 2021, 2022, you join us, and then, at this point in your trading, are you it sounds like you have other stuff going on too, other sources of income and everything. I mean, how much are you how many hours a day are you spending in front of the screens trading and versus, being out doing other things?
Yeah, so I mean, I work full time and I work in the office, but I've been working in the industry for a while, so kind of get a hang of it. So I had some time and I kind of had things under control at work. So I had free time. I have like a few screens, so
Yeah.
um, you know, minus meetings, I'm probably spending a few hours a day on it. I mean, you know,
Okay.
um, yeah, at least a
Awesome.
few hours a day. Yeah.
Yeah. So you're a couple hours a day, but you're not one of those glued to the screen. You're not like Jay, who's glued to the screen 8 hours a day, never leaves besides to get a coffee refill kind of guy. You got other things going on too.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, I have meetings, I have work and stuff. That's first. I have to.
Right. Right.
Yeah, yeah,
Got you. Got you. Okay.
definitely.
Um, okay. And then, so, and really, you're kind of a unique case because when you really started getting into trading was in our environment, right? So it sounds like your first,
Yeah.
learnings around how to really do this
Mhm.
and go in depth, especially into options, was
Yeah,
was with us. So flow and unusual options activity, I mean, that's been at the core for you. It sounds like from the jump.
absolutely, 100%. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Um, mhm.
Can you describe a little bit kind of what your learning process was like? I mean, it's different for everybody. So
Yeah,
yeah.
sure. I mean, like when I first started with you guys, I didn't ask questions much. I didn't, I saw, I was like a little intimidated, I guess, because I didn't know as much as everyone else did. So I kind of just, anytime Jay had a webinar, I listened to it, the whole thing. Every day I would, I would put headphones in my ear and listen to what he's saying. And
On the
then
broadcast during the
on
day.
the
Yeah.
broadcast is huge.
Yeah.
It helps a lot.
Yeah.
And, everything's like, I have a economics degree, right? So, everything that when I started was like, okay, interest rates, inflation kind of went crazy. I think that was the first time that Powell said, we're going to raise interest rates. So, it was like, hey, the market's going to go down now. There's kind of a lot of froth in the market. A lot of things are just skyrocketing and they need to reel that back in.
Right.
And I didn't listen. I was like, whatever, I don't know. But then slowly, I just picked up on it, right? I was looking at Jay's flow, I guess what is they call it? The unusual options. He puts up
The
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 top
wise
bet
guy alerts.
list, the wise
Yeah.
guy alerts, and then
And the
every
top
day
bets.
the
Yeah.
top bets.
Yep.
And then I would just stare at him and look at him, and then like look at what's happening with him later on.
Yeah.
And I think I made a few trades. I did good. Then I was like, well, do I really need these guys? I don't know. Let me go. I started to get like Cheddar Flow and Black Box to see what they had. I can just look at that and and be like, okay, I can do the same thing.
Right.
No, that's not the same thing. So, Jay actually he's a filter.
Yeah.
I then understood that, I was surprised. I was like, man, is there some days he takes off? And they're like, no, the guy doesn't
No.
take off, right? So he's watching everything all day,
Yeah.
and he has all that history behind him. So, uh, he was calling stuff out, and it was logical, it made sense, and it was in 23. I think that's when I started to, have some good trades and everything, and that's
Yeah.
kind of how it worked out. So I definitely listen to the broadcast. I do look at wise guy alerts, and I kind of learned that other, whatever other services, they just throw it out there and just show you all the stuff. But like, what is that? Like,
Right.
why? Anybody could be buying those options, institutionals, hedge funds. They could be for many different reasons, right? And so, Jay helps with that, right? He's like, okay, the stuff that he puts out, he's like, he'll tell you what it is, right? I mean, he's a little biased on some stuff that he likes to do, what he doesn't like to do, but
Yeah.
he'll present everything to us, and it's up to us to make the decision on how to execute. So,
Yeah. Yeah. That's awesome, man. Do you how would you describe your trading style right now? Are you swing trader, you scalper? Like what's your
uh,
time frames?
so I can't really scalp. I tried scalping at work, and that's a bad thing to do.
Mm.
I had to run to a meeting. I was like, shit, I have to sell, and then all of a sudden it skyrockets. I'm like, okay, I'm
Not
pissed.
doing that anymore. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I was like, shit, and I lost some money trying to do that. So I stopped doing that. I'll do it if I know that I'm free for the day. I may make a couple of scalps,
Yeah.
just watching people on the stream, and going back and forth with everybody. But I'm more of a swing trader. I kind of like to do longer dated options, not leaps necessarily, but like 3 months out. You know,
Okay.
2 months out. I kind of uh, wait for that setup. Um, I think Jay helps with that too.
Got
Like,
you.
yeah. So. Mhm.
Yeah. So, and I mean, maybe we could kind of go through just like a typical trade for you. I mean, what do you find that puts it on your radar? Is it chatter in the room? Is it the flow? Like, and then how do you kind of move
So
forward in your decision process?
I have like my own bias on stuff, right? So I
Yep.
started with equity, right? So I'm a tech guy. I mean, I think tech is where people should be at, because there's always growth. There should be growth in tech always, right? And I think the market is always looking at, hey, what's my income in the future?
Yeah.
Instead of buying like Coca-Cola or something like that, where there's not much movement in it. You can buy it and look 5 years later, it's the same price, and you may make some dividend on it. But I'm not looking for that. I'm looking for the action. So
Right.
tech was there, and that's what I like too, right? I kind of like it. So I gravitate. I look at more of the stuff that I like, that I understand a little bit. I do research myself, and then on top of that, if Jay sees that flow coming through, right, that gives me the confidence to kind of go ahead and make that trade. You know, Also look at rolling a lot, right? So if, not just if I see it, something come in like once or twice, but if you continuously see, like, it's very clear, like when if the market is trending, and if when there's they're hitting something really, like a lot. So
Yeah.
you see that, then that's when you gotta make that trade.
Yeah.
So like like back in go ahead.
Go ahead. Go ahead.
No, I think like like last year there was when SI when that bank fell, right, back in March,
Yeah.
SIVB.
Yep.
People were kind of, tech was like in like, was shit. No one wanted it. That into 22, right? All the mega cap stocks were just crushed, right?
Yeah.
So it's like, hey, what's going to happen in 23, right? So like, I think this is where you should be. I mean, it's easy to say now, but it's tough when everything's down, right? It's tough to like be like, oh shit, let me buy this, right? So like I think Tesla. Um, Jay was talking about it on the webcast. He was like, AI jumped off already, right? But it's like, Tesla hasn't really moved yet. Um, so I think it was like maybe March, or I think May. when it like went up like 23, like 20 days in a row or something like that, right? So and the flow came in there where like it was hitting close to money, close to in the money, maybe a little bit out of the money, but not too far out. But
Yeah.
then you would see it roll, right? So that's when I started to get into that, and I it's just you buy a 10 lot or something like that, right? I'm not playing huge on options because I know you can lose a lot on it too. So,
Right.
but then like once you make that first roll or you playing with profits, right? Like listening to Ronch and everybody, like, hey, take some profits, right? And then play with, like a free roll, right? So that hit with Tesla, and that was a great trade for a while. I rolled up three, four, five times
Yeah.
in that, and that was, I wish I put more money on it, but it's easy to say now. Than
Right. Right.
so like that was really good trade. That was a great trade, and then
Yeah.
SMCI too. Jay brought that up back in like early 23 of Feb when it was like 70, $80. I think I bought equity in it. Yeah, I did. And then I sold it after, it was up $10 or something. It was like in the 80s or something.
Yeah.
And then like I think one time after the earnings in like the summertime, right, it dropped. Like it went down to like the 200s or 250s, right? And I'm just watching the chart, listening to Jay, right? I mean, it's not like you can make this trade every day. You got to kind of wait and have things set up. It could take months sometimes, right? But then when you're looking at the chart, I'm just staring at it like every day, and you see a pattern,
Yeah.
and then you start to see flow come in, and you're like, okay. And I did the research. I listened to their calls, their earnings call. I read their report and everything. I'm like, okay, I think this is something where people are going to put money in.
Yeah.
AI is popping. They're making these racks for everybody. And no one's really talking about it right now. But Jay was talking about flow 3 months before, and then that big run up in the beginning of the year. That was great. That was a great time. That was a great trade too.
Yeah.
So, and I had a lot of equity in that too. Um,
And so it sounds like your analysis is like you do your fundamental analysis. I mean, you just said you're looking through financial statements, listening to calls and everything like that.
Absolutely.
And then you kind of build a thesis on a name, and then you wait for the flow
Mhm.
to kind of dictate like, okay, now's the time, right? Get
Yeah.
in, get out, and then
Oh,
manage the position.
yeah. I mean, I'll throw feelers out there. I mean, just to kind of see how it reacts. I might lose on like, because I'm too early in a trade or something, right? Like I'm trying
Right.
to get a feel for it. I may lose, but then I'll stick with it and I'll kind of see how that option price kind of moves, so I can see for myself.
Yeah.
But then like when once that flow comes in, you got confirmation. You gotta go ahead and make that move. Then
Yeah. Yeah. Hell yeah. I
yeah.
mean, it sounds like the way you're talking about things that you're pretty patient. Would you describe yourself as a patient trader?
Uh, I think I'm getting there. I
Okay.
think slowly I'm getting there, right? Because I still throw the feelers out, right?
Yeah.
I still may see something on field because I've looked at it for so long
Yeah.
that like okay, I think I okay, that I saw one wise guy alert pop up. Jay talked about something. I may throw something out there, and that's probably not the best thing to do
Mm.
because there's times that you see clearly that they're hitting something really hard, and you know. But I mean that's okay. I'm fine with it, right? Because I rather put
Yeah.
I'm okay to lose a little bit, and then but then eventually you get that back and then some. So I'm probably not like I won't win all my trades, but the ones you win,
Who does?
yeah, you wanna make money on those, and then you get a little bit of extra, and then you can throw some stuff around, kind of see what sticks. I'm still learning, so
Yeah. Yeah.
and I'm fine with it.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
so yeah, I'm half patient, not
You're not the Dalai Lama yet, but it seems like
no,
you're yeah, you're not also just wiling out and hitting buttons left and right. So
no, no, no,
yeah,
no,
got you.
absolutely.
Are you looking? I mean, at one point you said, you check out the chart. Obviously, we talked about how you look doing fundamental analysis and flow. I mean, is there any other technical analysis? Any other kind of levels of analysis that you're using? Or are you just like, hey, man? fundamental analysis, flow. That's all I
No,
need.
no, 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 no. It's not all that because you can look at fundamentals. That doesn't mean anything, right? It's you got to look at technicals too for your timing.
Okay.
So like I use the DeMark indicators. I use like moving averages. I use the anchored VWAP, daily,
Yep.
yearly.
Yep.
Um, yeah, I'm starting to look at other stuff, but Bollinger Bands, GAN, I'm squares, shit. I don't know. I'm
Yeah.
still, I just I want all the info and then I'll make the decision. Yeah.
Yeah.
But I
Okay.
like the market indicators. They work fairly well. It's not nothing's 100%, right?
Yeah.
Um, but you pick your spots, right? If you see something that's overstretched and it's like on a niner and on a Pink Panther, whatever, it's like don't put in big size now.
Hmm.
Just wait, right? So
Yeah. Yeah.
yeah,
And when you are making that decision of this is overstretched or this, is the time or not, it sounds like primarily you're looking at the options flow to help like make that informed decision. Yeah.
absolutely, yeah,
Yeah.
because that's when you get that confirmation, right? Just looking
Yeah.
at something, it doesn't tell you, it tells you something, but it doesn't tell you the money's coming into it now, right?
Right.
And that's what that flow does. It'll tell you, it tells you size, it tells you like how much of it, how many people are hitting it. Um, Flow, yeah, I mean it's key. That's
Yeah.
that's that's the key. That's and having Jay there and having him look at it, and having him watching historically, it's like it's a gem. You can't. Uh, it's worth a lot more money than what you guys charge.
Appreciate you saying that. I mean, it's a good opportunity for me to plug the course real quick.
Yeah.
So like as we said, the complete flow trader, this is the course taught by Wall Street Jesus, 10 classes. He's teaching you everything, that you need to know to trade flow. And, I think avoid, as Sahil, as you were talking about, there's a lot of services out there that publish a lot about flow. And
Mhm.
as a result, a lot of people trade the wrong flow. They trade the wrong activity. They just see a big number, a lot of commas, and they're like, okay, this is a big order. I'm going to follow it, and they get put into a buzzsaw. So Jay teaches you how to avoid that pitfall, along with everything else you need to know in order to trade flow. He said a number of times his number one priority is that every student in this class emerges being able to recognize their fat pitch. Like, what is the trade for them that they should be taking a swing at? So those classes start July 1st. Again, you can save 20% up until then if you use coupon code NOFLOW 2024 at checkout. That's KNOW flow 2024. You're also going to get two classes with Norse and Dave. Dave is the creator of the Gex Ray, which is one of the favorite tools of everyone in the steam room, going deep into gamma, and you get 3 months of access to the steam room, which is $675 value right there. So hope you guys can join us. Hope some of you watching this can join us for the complete flow trader starting up July 1st. Yeah, Seal, one of the things that I want to ask, for you was like, was there a part in your learning process that you can think of where the pieces kind of connected for you with regard to flow, where you were like, oh, this is something that I didn't realize before, but now that I've seen this, trades are starting to come together a little more for me.
Yeah, it was when they really start hitting it. When Jay would talk about it, he's like, back in 22 when the market was, you would get like squeezes, right? But the trend was the market was going down, right?
Hmm. Hmm.
Um, so he would be like, this flow it's not, this wasn't really great, right? It's not new names. It's always the same thing. Um, Powell was talking like like the Fed put was not there, right, in 22.
Right.
So
Right.
you didn't see, right? So I was still learning then, right? But I was taking shots and stuff like that. Even Joe Jay's like, hey, just sell it today. Don't hold overnight, things like that, right? So I lost a couple of times, but then in January, February of 23, then I really understood what he was talking about when somebody hits a name,
Hmm.
right? So that kind of where it clicked. We're like, okay, I see now what he's talking about. I see what he's been trying to teach us the whole time is like this is the flow that you want to see, and then you can feel comfortable of making a trade on that, right? And if you're not just pressing buttons and you execute right your entries and your exits, you're gonna make money, right?
Right.
So that, yeah, that's when I started seeing like names started getting like hit for real. I mean, he was talking about it. He's like, oh, this and that, and Chewy was hit or some other stocks I forgot, and I was like, what is he talking about? I see like a bunch of, you know, they're hitting the same stuff, but you didn't see it continuously, right? You didn't see it after a few days. You didn't see it after a dip. They would come back after it. I was like, oh, okay, it makes sense now.
Yeah. This is
Um,
different kind of activity that I can
this is different
actually
activity.
initiate on. Yeah.
Absolutely, 100%.
Yeah.
It's sometimes I don't like the name and stuff like that, or I don't follow that sector or things like that.
Yeah.
I would, make some trades on it and I would get out quickly because I'm not 100% sure on the fundamentals or what the thesis is on it.
Yeah.
Um, but the trade works, it's for everybody. Like what Jay offers, if you just want to make quick cash, he won't press the buttons for you, but he'll show you the flow. Or if you're taking it slow and you want to learn for real and understand the
Yeah.
market and things like that, thinking the long term, then it's definitely the place you want to be.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, we got traders of all types, in the room. We got pros who are trading, very
Yeah.
very large, accounts, and they've been doing this for a very long time, and they're moving size and everything like that, and their analysis is obviously quite sophisticated. And then we got people who, as you just described, are just kind of looking for more quicker cash, like kind of scalp in and out, maybe in between, going in and out of meetings or something like that. And then it sounds like you're, maybe in the middle, like you're doing pretty serious due diligence. It sounds like in some of these names,
Yeah.
really building a thesis around it, but
Yeah.
you're also not doing this full time. You got other sources of
Yeah.
income.
I'm not
Yeah.
doing it full time, but the money's good too, right? It's not a real small account, but it's a good size where, investing in you guys and watching it every day and looking at the flow every day, and it's worth it, right?
Right.
So yeah, it gets to a certain point. It's like I don't want to just throw money away, like big money away. So
Yeah.
yeah, yeah, I think it's good. It's definitely good.
I
Yeah.
mean, it's cool to talk to you about how you're looking into the fundamentals, because we got a lot of like, Lucci, for example. I mean, he is not he is not pulling up,
Mhm.
most recent financial statements for a lot of these names that he's trading.
Yeah.
I mean, he's
Yeah.
trading based off price action,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
tape and flow. So,
Mhm. Yeah.
um, different, a lot of different ways to use this data.
No, I mean, that's good too, right? Because then he's not stuck on a bias, right? So, he
Yeah,
can get in and out quickly and he'll flip it from short to long. And right. I tried to like short stuff. I made a little money on it, but I'm not a short thesis guy. I mean, if I see some stuff that like when Carvana was like, 300 or 400, I'm like, in 22, I'm like, yeah, it's easy to short it.
right,
But actually it's not because hedge funds are still in it and they're like, it took a year, 2 years to come down, right? So I know people who were short in that and they got rolled over
right.
and they got kicked in the face.
Yeah,
Uh, it just takes time, right, for things to play out in the market. So
yeah,
I pretty much stay like I try to be like long only.
yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
yeah. Everybody's got to find their style, man. It's always
yeah,
fascinating to talk to people and see how they
yeah.
did they piece things together.
Hmm.
Um, One of the questions that I've been asking people in this series is, if I waved a magic wand and just took away flow, you just couldn't use it for your trading. What do you think the impact would be? You go to make a trade. What would happen?
I wouldn't know where to start now.
Yeah,
Is there's so many places to look at. There's so many stocks out there, right? And you just don't know where to begin,
yeah,
right? So that flow kind of gets you to hone in on stuff, uh, and look at the right stuff. So without the flow, I mean, now I really don't know. I mean, it would take years for me to make a trade.
right, right.
I would be like, I mean, again, I can see the chart and look at something and be like, okay, but then I don't know when it's going to go up. I don't know if flow is coming in. I'll just sit on it and wait on it and just buy an equity, right?
Yeah, yeah,
If I still believe in the thesis, but like, if I just go into work and I put up everything the chart, I wouldn't know where to start without the flow.
yeah, yeah,
Yeah, it's definitely a guide and his filter and what he does. And I don't know how he does it, but I guess he has a ton of experience. He knows the stuff. He knows if it's opening and closing. And everything. I mean, I'm surprised at how much he knows. I'm really impressed, and it's. I wouldn't have. Yeah, I need it. I don't know how long he's going to be doing it for. So just
Well,
thinking that it's like,
he's
he's every
he's
day. He's there. He doesn't miss a day. Wow, dedication, right?
dedication indeed. He's a maniac.
He loves to do it. He loves to do it
He
because
loves it. He
he
loves
does.
it.
Yeah,
Yeah. I mean, he's a testament to what you can do when you love what you do. I mean, if you look at his Twitter feed, he's tweeting, all
yeah.
throughout the day and night, and he loves this stuff. He
Yeah, I
loves it.
mean, even the whole setup, you guys. When I started, I see you guys are like growing, adding new features and everything to it. I was like, wow, okay, these guys still want you to stay.
Yeah,
Um, I was like, wow, all of you guys, Norris, the whole group.
yeah,
I think you guys are always trying to change it up and innovate and add new features for everybody. That's
yeah,
good. I like
yeah,
that.
yeah. That's the goal, man. I appreciate you saying that.
Yeah.
Do you? I mean, you've been in the room now for a little bit. I know maybe you don't watch some of the other newer members as much, so maybe this question won't be as relevant. But is there anything that you see newer traders doing, mistakes that you see them making, where you're like, all right, this is you can tell that they're new when they're saying certain types of things, when they're doing certain types of things when it comes to
Yeah.
flow.
Yeah, in terms of like options and stuff, some of the I see them some playing out of the money. Like some people would ask me questions in DM,
Yep.
and I could tell they're a little bit newer. Um, when you're feel like playing weeklies on way out of the money, right? And it's like you probably don't want to start doing that. You probably want to get closer to the money because you wake up and market, you know, the stock is down. Your options are shit.
Right.
It's
Right.
a bag of shit and you just throw it away. So,
Right.
so I see that. And that's just learning, right? It's just like they don't have that experience and there's nothing wrong with it. You just need to put the work and effort into it or, just listen to Jay's webinar. Um,
Right.
yeah.
Right.
Yeah. It takes time though. I mean, for me, it does. For me, it took, 6 months or before I even asked the question on the webinar, it was like 4 months or something.
Right. Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, that's honestly, again, a kind of plug for the course, but that's one of the reasons why we created the course is because, we wanted to try and shorten the learning curve as much as possible for people who
Yeah.
wanna do that. I mean, certainly the way that you did it, not everybody has the patience that you have, and it sounds like the work ethic, it sounds like you've been really, like, consistent with everything, and not everybody can do that in the same way over, multiple months, or they're just like, "I could do that, but I'd rather kinda learn it more efficiently." So that's why we
Yeah.
created the course, but, yeah. I mean,
Yeah,
props
but
to you for
but
for
like
sticking in there.
but like when I started to where I'm now, I think there was a big jump in understanding flow and what it is.
Yeah.
Before I didn't know at all.
Yeah.
Uh,
Yeah.
yeah, so it was a big jump after just a few months, right?
Yeah.
You can't just do it for 1 month and be like, okay, I'm an expert. Or
Right.
if you make a couple of good trades and make a lot of money on it, if you don't understand it, then you may lose it after. You know, very easy to lose money in this
Yeah.
in the options game for sure.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I think one of the things that I say when people ask us, like, who's sort of the ideal member for us, and it really doesn't have to do whether with if somebody's like, "Oh, I wanna do this professionally," or not. It's
Mm-hmm.
the common denominator is if you have respect for the difficulty of it and you're taking it seriously, as you said, like,
Yeah,
you lose a lot of money doing this,
yeah,
and
hmm
if you're willing to really treat this with respect and put in some measure of work, I think we're a great place for a lot of people,
yeah. I think it's for everyone, really. If anybody that wants to yeah, like you said, who wants to learn and respects the market and respects money, I think it's for everybody for
Yeah.
sure.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Cool, man.
yeah,
Well, I super appreciate you taking the time to come on here and yeah, tell
no
us a little
problem.
about you, your experience, your story, and everything like that. Yeah, I
Mhm.
think that it's great for everybody to see people from different ways of doing things, like,
Yeah.
we have people who come in who are like, yeah, I use gamma combined with flow
Mhm.
and tape, and that's it. And you're like, hey, I use fundamental analysis with flow, and
Mhm.
I also have a full-time job and everything. So it's
Yeah,
good for people to see there's different ways to do this.
absolutely, man. Thanks for having me. Yeah. No
Yeah, of
problem.
course. Thanks, Sahil. Appreciate it. And
Mhm.
yeah, everybody, if you're watching this, really hope you can join us for the Complete Flow Trader. Go over to wallstreetjesus.com to learn more about that and sign up. Thanks for joining us.
Peace.